What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Griff channel. Today we are going to go through 5 tips that you guys need to know for soccer card collecting in 2022. I have compiled my list of the 5 most important things, in my opinion, that I want you guys to know and be aware of as we near the World Cup, as we near new Premier League and Champions League seasons, and as the market for soccer cards continues to grow and more people get involved. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It's my 5 most important things, and I hope you guys enjoy it and learn something from it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to comment down below what you guys thought of the video. And if you are willing to, we really appreciate it if you would subscribe to follow along for the journey. So let's get started with tip 1, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, guys, I've got my list right here. Let's start off with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is simply to get involved. I know it is very basic, but I want you guys to get involved with soccer cards, okay? There is room for market growth, absolutely. When I started collecting, which was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I obviously started collecting as a soccer fan, as a soccer player. Everything and almost my entire life revolves around that. So I started collecting for fun entirely. And to see everything that I collected back in those 4 to 5 years ago and what it's worth now and how things have grown, that has been really cool. But it's not even maxed out yet. It's nowhere near it. So there is absolutely room for market growth in the soccer card market. It is not too late for you guys, okay? So there is room for continued market growth. If you compare it with other sports, there is significant gaps in catching up, I guess you could say. When you compare the most in-demand players from other sports such as basketball, baseball, and football to the most in-demand players and the most legendary players in soccer, there's still a significant gap. And so that will only take time to continue to build up. And I'm not saying every single card in the soccer card market will go up, but point being is that the entire market overall and the excitement for soccer cards still has room to grow, and we will continue to see that as we near the 2022 World Cup. So thinking about that, just learn more. Get involved in any way you can, right? So do more research or watch more games or buy some cards or buy some boxes to learn more about it. Just getting involved is going to be the first big tip that I have for you guys. There is much more room for so many more people to get into the hobby in regards to soccer, and you guys can be the very next person. So that's tip 1. Okay, moving on to tip 2. Tip number 2 is more in regards to more recent times, which the World Cup is coming up. Tip number 2, it is too late for a large-scale World Cup investing. And what I mean by this, okay, we are 3 months out now, right? And if you are thinking that you're ahead of the game, we're 3 months out, I'm going to go get whatever, you're not ahead of the game. And there are so many people who have been planning for this, not only for significant months in advance, but years in advance to think about this. And you aren't necessarily on your own thinking that you're going to be able to do that and find a bunch of players that nobody knows about. This is the most watched competition and sporting event in the world. And so we are very close to it. 3 months out, it is a little bit late for large-scale investing. Moving on to the next point within this section is with that investing, in terms of the large-scale investing, right now as we get closer, and overall when I think about the World Cup, the stars are going to be better investments than the youngsters. Thinking about this, right? The top players in the world, such as Cristiano Ronaldo, such as Lionel Messi, both in their final World Cups, right? Other players such as Kylian Mbappe, Kevin De Bruyne, players who can really make an impact and will be all over headlines throughout the World Cup. That's going to be the better investment and the better growth opportunity right now rather than the youngsters. Why? I know youngsters are exciting. However, in a competition as big as this, there may be youngsters that you feel like have a lot of growth potential, aren't getting much playing time in the World Cup as they're playing for really top nations. So talking about that, right, it is a little bit late for large-scale stuff. And what I mean by that is you're not going to catch anybody out with finding some obscure market or some obscure players that is going to go crazy 3 months out. That's just a little bit late for that. However, if you're looking for things that could go up, it's those players, it's the top stars in the world that will have performance-based market adjustments throughout the World Cup. And that's the best investment right now. And then finally, paying attention to the Prizm World Cup. That is always a very, very exciting product, and I think one that most people are very, very excited for, because during the last World Cup, the market wasn't really necessarily anywhere near where it is right now. So paying attention to that, being aware of the drop, being aware of the cards that are involved with that, those always have significant growth potential. So number 2, a little bit too late for large-scale investing. If you're going to, focus on the stars rather than the youngsters in the short term, and then pay attention to the most exciting product of the year, Prizm World Cup. Okay, moving on to tip number 3, it is to understand different markets, okay? And what I mean by this, we've got 4 little bullet points within that, okay? First point I'm gonna make. The United States and American soccer cards market is heavily inflated, okay? Thinking about this, right? A card collecting hobby is predominantly an American hobby. That the majority of markets for football, basketball, baseball, the sports that have been most popular in the past years, right, is predominantly in the United States. However, the focus of soccer and football around the world, American football, or soccer, meaning the real football, right, around the world is much greater, and there's a very, very much a bigger reach. However, being that the predominant cards market is in the United States, the American card market is heavily inflated, especially around United States men's soccer players, okay? And I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples, okay? Thinking about one player who's on the rise, Daryl Dike, right? Came out of the University of Virginia, is now playing for some clubs in Europe, and has done pretty well, is a rising star for the United States men's national team, okay? He, I believe, is in the EFL Championship right now, and I've seen rookie cards of him pretty consistently selling for $25 and above. And yes, they are rare. However, comparing that with other players, it's unreal, right? It's just silly, because while he is an exciting player for the United States men's national team, comparing him to other players in his league, in the Premier League, that are so much more exciting, that have so much more potential, and that are just significantly better players, it's not even close, and it makes you question why those cards are so expensive. And then, like, another example, right? Christian Pulisic. I know I'm going to get some heat for this, and I know there's plenty of people who are going to be frustrated with me saying this. And yes, he is an extremely talented player, okay? I'm fully acknowledging that. Very, very talented. He's a very great player, and he is the star of the U.S. men's national team, right? However, continue to compare him to other wingers of his category. I'm thinking of my teams, Gabriel Jesus, one of my favorite players in the world, right? Think about Riyad Mahrez. Moving on to some other teams, Mo Salah, right? I know it's crazy, but looking at those players and watching them and studying them for how long I have, looking at Christian Pulisic versus a Riyad Mahrez or versus a Gabriel Jesus, I can tell you wholeheartedly, Gabriel Jesus and Riyad Mahrez are significantly better players than Christian Pulisic. Whereas when you look at the card market, a Christian Pulisic patch autograph is going to go for probably 10 times what that of a Gabriel Jesus or Riyad Mahrez card would go for. And that's comparable across the board on United States men's soccer cards. Players such as Weston McKennie, such as Gio Reyna. And those are really good players, right? Absolutely, I'm not denying that they're not talented. They're starters for top European clubs. However, I am saying, though, that comparing the talent level and the excitement level and the growth potential as players to become superstars, they aren't on the level of many players that don't have as high market values and market excitements, if that makes sense. And so that's one of the things I really want you guys to look out for. Doesn't mean don't get involved with U.S. soccer cards. They're very exciting, and that's where the market is right now. But just be aware that the actual level of these players, there is still a gap. There is still a gap between the mediocre and the exciting for the United States and the mediocre and the exciting for the most profound nations in the world. Okay. Moving on, talking still in this number 3, understanding markets, rookie cards versus stickers, a really big thing, right? Thinking about this, rookie cards are really interesting in soccer because players come on, they're not drafted, and they kind of come on at different times. And so the rookie card idea is a little bit of a new thing. For example, I have actually back here this Kylian Mbappe rookie card from 2017 Topps Chrome, a perfect example of the market growth. This hobby box here, I packed that one, and that is classified as his rookie card. There is no rookie card symbol on it, but that's what's classified as his rookie card, because that's his earliest possible date from this, whatever. So there's so many different classifications, and it's really, really interesting. Some players have stickers, and so that's something just to be aware of, and I want you guys to do more research about before you get into it, right? So there's rookie stickers, there's rookie cards. Not all rookie cards have the actual rookie card symbol. So there's so many different variations and interesting, unique things around that. So that's something really for sure to pay attention to, because it's not all easy. Everybody's a rookie this year. Everybody's a rookie that year. Everybody's a rookie this year. There's players that I know that are 30 that had a rookie card in Prism last year. And so that's something definitely to pay attention to and understand. If you're going to go invest in somebody's rookie card, making sure it's the right one to invest in, if that makes sense. So definitely do your research on that. Then talking about old versus semi-modern versus modern, right? More modern cards are being more mass produced, whereas when you look at such as the 2018 World Cup, right, that 2017 Topps Chrome, which boxes of that are selling for upwards of $2,000 now. I bought it for $70 about 4 years ago. Understanding that the cards are continuing to be produced at higher levels doesn't make the market go down necessarily. However, it definitely makes it different. People are aspiring for that Kylian Mbappe rookie card, right? People are aspiring for the World Cup cards from 2018 because they're more rare. And there will be definitely excited for this year and the more cards coming up. But all of a sudden now we're starting to see new soccer card releases, Mosaic, from different leagues, right? Chronicles and Obsidian, and whereas previously we only had Chrome or we only had Finest. And so it was definitely more a finite market many years ago. So paying attention to when they were less produced, barely produced in the old times, or kind of 20 years ago-ish, right? When they were less produced in recent years, about 4 or 5 years ago, before the market was realized, and now when they're just starting to get more mass produced in more, I guess you could say, in a more variety of subsets. So paying attention to that as well. And then obviously just understanding that it takes time, and it will only take time to grow. It doesn't happen overnight. It will take time for the markets to continue to rise. So that's tip number 3, understanding the markets. Definitely researching and understanding why the United States men's soccer card market is inflated for sure. Understanding rookie cards versus stickers, old versus semi-modern and modern. And then, understanding that it takes time for obscure markets to grow. Okay, tip number 4 here, okay? Make your own judgments. Media inflation is really big in the soccer card market, okay? Media inflation is true, and it lasts a long time. A perfect example for me, thinking about a player, Ansu Fati, okay? And again, not saying he's not talented. He is incredibly talented, and he has a lot of potential. But that was a player that when the soccer card market started to boom, people said he's the most exciting youngster in the world. And for almost a year, really, he lasted, and his cards were going for absurd prices. And it has started to drop off a little bit, and he is still very exciting for sure. Don't get me wrong, but the market, after hearing the kind of market excitement, it didn't slow down, and it didn't slow down when he didn't start to play well, when he had a couple years where he wasn't doing much or was struggling a little bit. And so that's something to absolutely be aware of. Media inflation is real, and so just paying attention to those kind of, I guess, market pops and headlines and whatever is not necessarily enough to be able to make noise or understand the market as much as you probably need to, right? That Ansu Fati is a perfect example. But also just paying attention to things, right? So Pedri's one that's really going crazy right now. So just learning more about it and why that is, and what is going to make him go up or down. So that's something to absolutely pay attention to. Media inflation is really, really big, and I don't want you guys to only get caught up in, I'm only listening to news stories, I'm only watching YouTube videos. I want you guys to be able to analyze and understand your own judgments based on these players and their performances, okay? Fluctuation with performance, another thing, right? Talking about the media inflation and how it lasts, fluctuation with performance is huge. World Cup coming up, right? It is a month-long competition. That will fluctuate with performances, okay? If the semifinal is 1 week and we have a week in between that to the finals, the players who played the best in the semifinal that week probably going to be inflated a little bit and excited, right? So the markets will fluctuate with different players for performances. Talking about Champions League, players who are playing the best in Champions League throughout the group stage, or win awards, or man of the match, or whatever it is, those things help. But again, they're kind of contrasting with that media inflation, in that sometimes that inflation lasts a long time and people get hang up, Ansu Fati, and they're waiting a year and a half and he hasn't done anything in the past year, and there's new youngsters on the table that whose markets are continuing to grow just by their performances and their growth as players. And that kind of leads me into my last point about this entire tip, is making your own judgments, okay? Learn about players and performances yourself, and watch the game, okay? I know a lot of you guys are just interested in the card market, don't necessarily love soccer, but the biggest thing you can do to help understand the market more, to help understand players, to get yourself ahead of the game, is to watch and care about it, okay? Just reading about news stories, just reading about who's the best players to invest in right now, just watching videos like this, top 10 soccer cards to invest in right now, right? Just reading that is not enough. You have to understand and research and do everything you can that is available to you, just as I know you guys would with football or baseball, where you're watching almost every single week, you're up to date with all the news, you're playing fantasy. It's the same thing with soccer. So getting your news predominantly just from media or Instagram or YouTube, it's not necessarily going to be enough. You guys have to understand what makes players go up in value, what makes players go down in value, and what really makes a good player. Being able to understand and study the game for so many years and play for so many years, it gives me an increased understanding of what makes a top player, and can I understand and can I tell if that player is really going to become a top player, or do I really feel like the market is just excited for him right now? So yes, tip number 4, make your own judgments, watch and get excited for it. But yes, it is all up to you guys, and you guys need to take responsibility for your own understanding of the market. Yes, tip videos like this help, but in terms of players, specific teams, you guys need to do your research and do your work before you expect to be able to succeed in the soccer card market. One more tip here, coming in with tip number 5, it is get involved for the right reasons, okay? And this one connects to tip number 4. Don't go in just for the money and think you're gonna make millions of dollars all of a sudden. There are plenty of people who do a great job of trading cards, soccer cards, football cards, whatever it is. But if you're coming in with no background knowledge of soccer, right, not understanding the leagues, the different teams, the different clubs, the different competitions, right, if you're coming in and you're only going in for the money, hey, the market hasn't fully adjusted yet, it's still growing. You're right, it is growing, absolutely, right? But it is going to be much more difficult for you to make money and to succeed in the soccer card market without your own knowledge, okay? So going in just for the money is involvement for a wrong reason, in my opinion, okay? Enjoy the sport and learn more about it. It is a beautiful game brings unity to so many people throughout the world. So I want you guys to get involved with it. If you want to get involved in the soccer card market, I suggest you also get involved with soccer and learn more about it. Just try to help grow the hobby in soccer cards. Definitely get involved. I want you guys to get involved. Just being involved for the right reasons, right? Yes, money is absolutely a part of it, and I know it's a business for so many of you guys. However, enjoying it is also really, really critical as well, right? So helping to grow the soccer card hobby, which still has so much room for growth potential, is another big thing and a great reason to get involved. And then helping others. If you guys know a lot about soccer cards, or you don't learn more about soccer cards, or you don't know much about soccer cards, helping others or bouncing ideas off of people or connecting with different people to help grow the hobby and help others in their collecting journey is really, really critical. And it's always so fun to be able to be around people and to chat with people and to talk with people on different platforms about soccer cards and about everything like that, because it's something that I got into fairly early and I've loved to follow as I just follow the game I love. And so helping others is another big thing. So tip number 5 is get involved for the right reasons. Don't go in for the money thinking you're going to do crazy. Enjoy the sport, enjoy the beauty of it, and get involved to help others and enjoy soccer card collecting on your own. Okay, guys, those are the 5 tips. A final little bonus tip, have fun and enjoy it, okay? Card collecting, as I know many of you guys are, embraces the kid inside you. Enjoy collecting, enjoy the hobby. I just want you guys to also learn more about the sport and learn more about the hobby before you dive ultimately all the way into it, okay? So it is a brilliant sport, it is a brilliant hobby, and combining collecting with soccer, it makes for the perfect combination for me. So I want you guys to enjoy it, get into it, get involved with it, and most importantly, for the bonus tip, have fun. finishing off with the video, that is the top 5 most important tips I want you guys to know for the soccer card market in 2022. Get involved. Number one is get involved. There is room for growth. Okay. Number 2 is it a little too late to find crazy things about the World Cup. We are 3 months away. Number 3 is understanding different markets, the United States market, different obscure markets, rookie cards, and semi-modern to modern cards. Number 4 is make your own judgments and understand media inflation. And number 5 is get involved for the right reasons and why you want to collect. Okay? Those are the 5 most important things I want you guys to know for soccer card collecting in 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you learned something, make sure to smash that like button and comment down below what your favorite part of the video was or what your favorite tip was. If you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me on Instagram at The Griff Channel. Other than that, I really enjoyed making this video for you guys, and I'm hoping to do some more soccer card videos in the future, including who I invested in for the World Cup back last year. And some other cards that I did for the first time investing as a soccer card collector. Everything obviously has been an investment over the past couple years, but cards that I bought specifically for investing, I'm hoping to do some videos on that. So I'm hoping to be able to continue to produce some content around soccer cards and the collecting hobby that I love so much. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button, comment down below what you thought of the video. And again, as I said in the beginning, it really does mean so much if you would consider subscribing to join along for the journey. So have a wonderful day, guys, and we will see you on the next one.